Good morning and welcome to World Talks on TVP World. My name is Anna Kalczyńska. The recent reshuffle in the Polish government has seen Radosław Sikorski, the current Minister of Foreign Affairs, promoted to the post of Deputy Prime Minister. This significant change raises important questions about the government's future decision and Sikorski's political path. We are now joined by Krzysztof Izdebski, member of the board, Stefan Batory Foundation. Good morning, sir, and thank you for taking your time, for sharing your insights
Good morning,
with us.
my pleasure. Good morning, my pleasure.
Given your expertise in the governance and public policy, how do you interpret this decision?
The decision is actually focused on what's going to happen in 2027 or earlier. So the parliamentary elections and the position of the Tusk government is quite difficult. Just to say they're not really leading in the public opinion polls, or when they are leading in the public opinion polls, then anyway, there is a perspective of the government of law and justice and confederacy coming in. So the role of Tusk now is actually to mobilize his own electorate, who is a bit, also to say very mildly, unhappy with the speed of the way how the process of bringing the law and justice politician to the justice looks. And this is one actually of the reasons that probably Adam Bodnar will not be a Minister of Justice after today's announcement made by Donald Tusk at around 10, so in an hour.
So do you see this reshuffle more as a sign of a stability or rather a response to internal problems and external pressures perhaps as well?
I would say both, but the first one, so the quest for stability is actually a desire which I think it's a bit hopeless. It seems that it's a bit, at least in the field of justice, it's a bit short-handed. And the tactics or the strategy that is being taken, so taking the minister, Waldemar Żurek, who is a judge that was oppressed by the former government, and he's still very active when it comes to dealing with the reforms or reversing the reforms of the rule of law and the justice system. It means that there will be less focus on something which is more important for people at the time being. So reforming the judiciary in terms of how it works, its effectiveness, the way how the proceedings are being carried on, etc. And rather, he will going to focus on fighting with the law and justice politicians, which is a fair case, taking into account a lot of irregularities with the former government. But it can't be made as the main point of the activity. So I'm not really sure that it's about stability at the end of the day, although there is such a thought. I guess there will be no other reconstruction this or the next year if the Prime Minister is pleased with this particular change. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to miss what the people really need in terms of the of justice, that's this effectiveness of the justice system in this regard, but also bringing this stability in the time of anxiety. So, of course, the Radosław Sikorski role is very important, and I think it's a good decision from the perspective.
Exactly. So let's just delve a bit and a moment here, because as we know, titles in politics don't always translate into real influence. But what kind of effective power does Sikorski actually gain with the vice prime minister role? And how might it change his ability to shape government policy?
So he will be, and I'm also referring to one of the hobbies of the future president, Karol Nawrocki, Radosław Sikorski will be empowered as the sparring partner of Karol Nawrocki, who also has an ambition to be particularly active in the foreign policy. He was very vocal about it during the campaign, but also in the interviews that he is giving now, also a few days before his the swearing in. And Radosław Sikorski's position as the right hand of Donald Tusk, there's no doubt about it. At the moment, it is official position deputy prime minister, he is the one to be sacrificed, or the one who would rather be successful, also knowing the effectiveness and energy of Sikorski, will be the part of this polarized fight over the foreign policy in Poland, although, of course, there will be still some issues that I think will be a matter of the common interest and the common agreement between the prime minister or the deputy prime minister and the president, which is the fight with the Russian influence, but not necessarily they have the same ideas about the Ukraine role in the European Union or Europe in general. So there will be a lot of arguments, but I hope that at least some of the fundamental issues important for the Poles, like security, will be done or will be discussed beyond this political war or conflict.
Depending on how you see it and who you listen to, promotion of Sikorski could be seen as a stepping stone for his future leadership inside the coalition and for Koalicja Obywatelska and for Platforma Obywatelska, or perhaps, as some suggest, this appointment in a relatively weak coalition could weaken the position of Sikorski. So what does this appointment tell us about Prime Minister Donald Tusk's current strategy and his confidence in Sikorski?
So I think it's like Donald Tusk is tested. I don't see by the changes made in this government recently or will be confirmed in an hour. I don't really see a huge plan which is prepared for years. It's mostly trying to deal with the own internal issues, not necessarily within the coalition as such, but also within the city platform. There is a kind of an opposition, which is unusual for many, many years, or was unusual for many, many years. There is a kind of an internal opposition towards Donald Tusk, and Radosław Sikorski is the one who has this, especially for this more radical electorate. He is the one who is, the tough, strong guy, who is not looking at the legal procedures, but he's just, going on with what he's planning to do. He's, very, very open and remarkable when it comes to speeches, etc. So I think it's a kind of a threat also for Donald Tusk's position, and giving the deputy minister role to Radosław Sikorski. This is something that Donald Tusk tried with a lot of other concurrent or competitors within the party through all the years, so trying to neutralize Radosław Sikorski and giving his post and making him even more responsible for the whole government. So he would not have a lot of time to deal with his own political decision. At least for now, Donald Tusk is not going anywhere. He's he has still this desire to be a prime minister until elections. So I'm not really sure whether the Radosław Sikorski will have a kind of a fresh air afterwards to become a leader of the citizen platform or citizen coalition and replace Donald Tusk, because also he is taking much more responsibility for what the government is doing, and he can't say anymore that he's just doing the foreign policy, because he's responsible for the overall work of the current government.
Well, but besides the internal politics, Radosław Sikorski remains primarily the foreign minister. So given his strong international profile, especially within the EU and NATO, how might this expanded role affect Poland's foreign policy direction?
I think we will not see, from the side of Sikorski himself, I think we know everything about him. He's in the politics for years. He's, again, very vocal. He's not shying away from saying what he thinks in the foreign policy and other matters. So we won't see any spectacular surprise here. But what will be really interesting, and this is that maybe something unexpected, is the tension that we wrote between Karol Nawrocki, who is also very ambitious and also building the strong team within the presidential palace when it comes to the foreign policy. So we're going to see something that we witnessed around 2009, 2010. So the argument between then Prime Minister Donald Tusk and then President Lech Kaczynski over the foreign policy, with the symbol of the chair of who will gonna take the chair at one of the EU Council meetings. So this will be a polarized discussion or the argumentation, and this is all planned actually to be even more polarized before the 2027 election, because polarization, unfortunately, and I hate it as an expert and the person who is observing the political life, there is a one good thing about polarization for politicians, which is the mobilization of their own electorate. And I think this is why this decision has been taken, including improving or increasing the role of Radosław Sikorski, who is again very very characteristic person and someone who is liked by the more radical coalition electorate. But whatsoever, this sole decision will not have a tremendous impact on the foreign policy as such. But again, it may have a big influence on the internal politics, rather. So the competition between the presidential palace and the chancellery of the prime minister.
Well, it's always good to end on a positive note. Thank you so much, Krzysztof Izdebski, member of the board, Stefan Batory Foundation. We'll see if the government is going to regain momentum after this reshuffle. The big announcement today, shortly after 10 a.m. this morning. Thank you so much once again for sharing your insights with us here on TVP World. And thank you for watching World Talks. Please stay tuned for more commentaries and other news.